And this was the turning point for me. This is when I remember thinking, oh yeah, if somebody can just plug a new person into their life and keep moving, like nothing has happened, to me, that might be love to them, but it's not the definition of love to me. Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Coming Up for Air with myself, Lou. I hope we're all okay. I am back on camera. I'm back on YouTube. I'm back doing video. I feel like the last probably 3 weeks, like my feet haven't touched the ground, and a lot goes into doing video podcast episodes, and I've toyed with the idea of being able to just like get a microphone and just sit and record wherever, but I'm very much like the type of person that I like to put out content that I would like to see. So I know that if I would want to see somebody sat with a nice background, it being nice lighting, looking nice, and I know that you can show up online however you like, but that's how I like to show up. I put out content that I want to see or that I needed to see when I was going through my breakup. So yeah, we're back, and I did take a little hiatus off of YouTube. I got into like a really good routine of posting YouTube shorts as well, and that's kind of faded out now as well. So I'm going to get back on all of that. And I think sometimes it is really hard because there's so much that you can post, but I think because people make it look quite easy, and I'm not saying I do make it look easy, but like some content creators make it look so easy, but you have no idea how much work goes on in the background, just editing an entire hour episode on video, making sure like the cuts work and the audio is okay for the audio listeners and the video quality is okay for the video watchers. It's intense. But I am going to make it a mission this week to get back on YouTube Shorts. I've got so many podcast videos that I can cut and make short form content on, and I want to try and get onto Instagram with my clips from my podcasts now. And it's all a process. And I think people think that, and I used to think that content creators just kind of like posted about their lives, and you couldn't be a content creator if you didn't want to post about your life, and that just literally isn't true. But there has been a content strategy, however you say that word. There has been a strategy behind how I've been posting, and I've seen my followers increase, which is great because it means that my strategy is working. And so now I'm at a point now where I feel like I can share more videos from my podcast episodes. But what people don't realize is that you do obviously open yourself up online, and it is a conscious choice to open yourself up online. You do open yourself up to quite a lot of scrutiny. And in the last like 2 weeks, there has been so many people commenting on my videos, just like nasty things, like rage baiting. And the funniest thing is, like, I don't buy to any of them. Sometimes if I know they're actually people and they've got followers and I can see that, their full names on Instagram, I am a little bit not sneaky because I feel like I should be able to do this, but I will go and find them on Facebook or LinkedIn and I will message them on there and be like, thanks so much for your message on Instagram. I've screenshotted it and I'm going to send it to, if they're like young, I'm going to send it to your mum, or I'm going to send it to your employer. And just, we can go from there. I have been known to do that in the past because some of the comments that I have had have been vile. But sometimes like they are just fake accounts, and I think, why? Why are we doing this? Why are we creating fake accounts? Surely I had a comment basically about a week and a half ago that was like, imagine setting up the camera in the kitchen and then knowing that you're dancing around in front of a camera and then cutting it down, and like it's such a waste of time. And that's the kind of content that I like to create. However, I would love to go back to these people and be like, imagine setting up a fake email address. Imagine then setting up a fake account on Instagram, verifying it, searching my name, commenting on it, and then not getting a reply. Like, what is the point? Anyway, when you have a certain amount of followers, the algorithm pushes you out more. And so like my content's getting pushed out more and more. And I think when you land on my page, you don't realize that I have actually got a podcast, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a TikTok. So hopefully now I'm hitting certain milestones in followers, my podcast clips will be pushed out a little bit more and hopefully reach the right people and the people that need me the most, not the people creating fake accounts. And people are like, oh, you know, it's got to be so and so, it's got to be so and so. I have had one instance in the past where I've been able to track back the email address. There's a thing that you can do when you type your username in on Instagram and it will pull up, and then you click like forgotten password and it pulls up a email address. I have recognized one of the email addresses before of somebody who has commented nasty things on my Instagram repeatedly as well. And I wanted to see how far they would go until I blocked them. It is interesting. However, I very rarely dwell on the hate. And I follow a lot of people that have big accounts and they'll screenshot and like tag the people and stuff. And I'm all for that. Like, fair play, call them out. But I very rarely dwell on it because I think it would put you off posting online. And if you've been here from the start, you know that I got a really nasty Apple review on my podcast, which turned out to be somebody that was linked in my breakup, and they obviously just felt the need to come on and share their opinions of me personally, but it was a personal attack on me, and so I was able to get it taken down by Apple. But I've got negative comments and like 3-star reviews on my podcast. Like, I don't mind. I honesty is the best thing, but I don't mind. If people want to be honest, people want to be honest. But obviously the more that you grow, the more you become a little bit more, not vulnerable, but like the more you expose yourself to these types of people. And I just think it is just so wrong. And I had a little bit of a break after that because I thought, am I doing the right thing here? Like, opening up, should I be talking about this online? I'm so careful to leave people's names out of it. 99% of the time, I'm just telling stories about what I went through. I'm not bad-mouthing people. And it made me stand back and question like the entire reason as to why I was doing this and if I should actually carry on. And it was quite sad. And I stopped recording for a bit. And then I thought, do you know what? The amount of messages that I get of people saying like, thank you for opening up, thank you for being vulnerable, it kind of counteracts out the negative comments. But that review knocked me. And I remember sending it to my sisters and being like, what the hell? And then when I found out it was someone connected to me, it was kind of like, well, they already had a preconceived opinion of me anyway. They're obviously got their backup about the fact that I've had the courage to sit here and do this, and they don't like what I'm saying. So fingers crossed, the more I grow, the more I reach the people that actually want to say and listen to what I have to say, not the people that are just going to post nasty comments online about me. Anyway, last night I had the most incredible evening. I'm recording this on Thursday. I'm actually prepared for once. I'm not doing this on a Friday. And that is because last Friday I was rushed to go out the door. I've already got plans on Friday. I know I need to be somewhere at a certain time. This all needed to be done today. I have so much editing to do, but this had to take priority because I am not rushing around like a madwoman on Friday when I need to be out the door at a certain time, need to be ready, hair done, makeup done, all the rest. If you're a woman, you know. And I'm the worst person because I think I have like 45 minutes. For example, last night, I'm obviously going to talk to you about last night because I had a really good night, but last night I looked at the clock and it was like 5:45. I had to be out of the house for like 6:15. I just sat down and started eating dinner, and it got to like 6 o'clock and I was like, I legitimately have 15 minutes to get out of this house, and yet there is no urgency behind this. There is no urgency whatsoever. And for a majority of my career and my job, I was an executive assistant, office manager, business manager. I'm pretty much like on it with time. When it comes to a professional capacity, when it comes to personal capacity, it just goes out the window. Like, loo time is just a thing in my world. Everyone knows that I'm going to be late, which is really bad. And I'm trying to be better. But yeah, I just flew out the door. And even I got to my sister's house and she was like, oh my God, you're only 5 minutes late. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I literally got ready in 20 minutes and got over here. I don't know how I did that. Anyway, I had a really good night last night. So I've always been a big McFly fan, and Busted, to be fair, but I was more of a McFly fan. And they're touring at the moment. If you follow McFly, and Busted. They're touring at the moment. They're doing a tour together. And last year they released the tickets, and me and my sister were able to get some tickets for their Birmingham show. We've had to literally wait. I think we ordered them in October last year, and we bought them for each other for a Christmas present. We always do it. We always go to some form of show or a theatre show, like down in London and stuff. I don't know what we're doing this year. I need to have a look into it. But we've literally waited like over a year to be able to go and see them. And they performed last night. And honestly, they are my favourite band in the whole world. Like, they are just so good. They're so entertaining. They're so talented. And not and I think I've been seeing them since I was like 11 years old. And I haven't ever walked away from a show and thought, God, that was so good. And that was the vibe that I was getting last night. It was just so, so good. I had such a good time. And that is the first time where I've seen them where they've played a lot more of their set. I saw them in 2022, not so long after my ex left. And I saw them at a festival and they played like their most known hits, which obviously bands do at festivals to get the crowd going. That was the closest I've ever been to them ever. I swear that Dougie Pointer waved and winked at me, and honestly, I have a video and I am certain that he winked at me. But I've seen them so much over the years. I've seen them at Wembley. I've seen them everywhere, basically. And last night they played a lot of their songs from their album. The general public, if you weren't a McFly fan, might not have known. And it was so good because I love seeing them perform. I fancy the pants of Dougie Pointer. I know he's got a girlfriend at the moment, which is really sad for all the single girls that really fancy him. But if he ever became a single man, I would hunt him down. I think now, like, the age gap's fine. When I was 12 and he was like 18 or however old he is over than me, or like 16, I can't remember how much older he is than me, then yeah, a little bit weird. But now I'm 32. I think it's okay. But like I said, he's got a girlfriend, so it's sad. I remember going to see them locally to me, and he was walking hand in hand with a girl, and I was like, heartbroken. Proper celebrity crush. But they played some of my favourite songs last night, and Danny did an acoustic version of a song, and I stood there. I said to my sister, this song was on repeat in my earphones most nights when I felt really alone. And he did the song so much justice. It was so, so good. And you know when something gives you goosebumps and you're like stopped in your tracks, that's what it did. And he sang it with Charlie from Busted, and I put it on my Instagram story, so it might still be up. Oh no, I don't think it will be. It would have probably gone by now, but you may have seen it on my Instagram story that I shared it. And I tagged Danny in the hopes that he will see it and he will read it and know that that song got me through like some of the hardest times. But yeah, I had such a good night. And this last, like I said, 3 weeks have just been a blur. I've just been so busy. And that was the last sort of like event that I've got going on. I've got 2 weekends of like solid nothingness. And I intend to do absolutely nothing. I've started a new training plan, which comes with like a new nutrition plan as well. So this week I started getting my head into that. And I don't like overwhelming myself when I start something new. So I pick one thing, and I know that I can do 10,000 steps a day because I do it regularly. So I started with my 10,000 steps a day. On Monday, I went to the shops. I bought all new food. It's a whole different way of healthy eating for me. And I don't like addressing food because I know that it is a huge trigger, but I'm a restrictor. When I want to change my body or lose some weight or tone up, I restrict. This is the complete opposite. I had a jacket potato with like minced beef and like avocados, cottage cheese for my lunch today. Now, for me, that wouldn't be something that I would do. That's a dinner for me. And I'm eating breakfast again, which I've fasted for so many years now. But I'm eating breakfast, and I've listened to numerous podcasts about nutrition and gut health. And one thing stuck out for me with one of the podcasts that I listened to, it was with a girl called Em the Nutritionist. She's massive on TikTok. And she said, make sure every day that you're eating the colours of the rainbow. And I looked at what I was eating before and how I was like, kind of like wanting to slim down before I went away. And I just wasn't. I wasn't eating the colours of the rainbow. I love an avocado. I love tomatoes. I love salad. But like, don't think I was putting enough on my plate. Anyway, I've started this new training plan, and next week I am going to start the exercises. They seem really intense. And I'm going to try and incorporate the gym into it, running and Pilates. And I just need to know how it looks and how I'm going to fit everything in, because I'm definitely 100% on a mission to shred for Christmas. And I think these sorts of things are so personal to people. That's why I don't talk about it, because I get a lot of people saying like, you don't need to lose weight, or you don't need to tone up, you've got the best body, you're so fit, blah, 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 blah. Everything's personal to me and how I feel. And I know I am at my best and I feel my best when I am eating healthily and I'm exercising, I'm working out, I've got a clear head, and it makes me sort of not want to go out and drink as much. And I don't ever, and you know this, will ever put a negative on drinking. I don't think drinking should be negative whatsoever. However, I think like now with my age, I just can't cope with the lack of sleep. I love partying so much and I will stay out till like 2-3 a.m. I don't get massively drunk and I don't drink loads. However, the tiredness hangovers just absolutely kill me. So yeah, that's basically what's new with me. And once I've done like a month of it, it's basically a 28-day program. Once I've done those 28 days, I'm going to report back on how I feel. I've got progress photos, and if anybody is interested, then I will share the details with you and let you know whether or not I think it's actually worth paying for. And it's not expensive. I think it's £15 a month, but obviously if you're paying for the gym as well, like I want to do like a good review of it. So I'll share the details with you, like I said, afterwards, once I've hopefully completed the program and I feel glorious for Christmas, because everybody knows that everyone eats more. You genuinely eat more at Christmas, don't you? So I want to make sure that I just want to be feeling my best at Christmas and around my birthday time and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not because I feel, and like I said, doing things like this is personal to you. And sometimes I think people can pass a judgment and not actually realise that even the positive compliments is quite annoying. Like if you want to lose weight, that's fine. If you want to tone up, that's fine. And so that's me. I've just had to pause the recording, and so I think my microphone stand may have reappeared. I'm not sure what goes on with the technical difficulties of recording a podcast, but also having to answer the phone to your sister when she calls with the kids, making sure that she's okay. She did just call me then, and so I did have to just flit off screen for a minute. Anyway, on to today's episode. I'm going to talk about reframing the painful thought of they'll just do everything with somebody new. And I get this all the time, like, Lou, how am I ever going to get over the fact that they're going to do stuff together? You know, my ex has got a new girlfriend or a new boyfriend. How am I ever going to get over the fact that they're going to do everything that we did? And how do you even see that? How do you even get over that? How do you even make that into a positive? It is so hard, but it is something that I have first-hand experience in. So this episode is going to be jam-packed full of everything that I did, my thought processes. It's not even practical like things that I did, because you can't really practically get over something like that, because it is a thought and it's a thought pattern, and because you are thinking, oh my god, they're just going to recreate my relationship with their new girlfriend or new boyfriend, and it is really difficult. However, I do quite like to think that I am quite strong-minded and give good mindset advice. So this is everything that I thought about and all the thoughts that I went through and how I processed it, because like I said, it is something that I went through and it is something that I get asked a lot. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of a story time because I think that always helps when you're listening to a certain podcast for advice. It's good to know that the person that you're listening to has been through something that, they're talking about, or something that you can gain advice from. So when I was in my relationship, we pretty much lived in each other's pockets. We did everything together. We used to visit North Wales. Every anniversary we had, we'd go to North Wales. And growing up, when we were literally growing up, like when we were like 14, 15, 16, all the way up till probably around like till we were like 25-ish, before we bought the house, we would spend most weekends in North Wales because my ex's family had a place in North Wales, and it was his childhood, and he opened that up to me, and it became a really special place. And I know that his brothers feel the same, his sisters feel the same, his parents feel the same, that like that place to us and to them was really special. I held really fond memories. Some of the funniest videos I have of us together are us prattling around, just being kids in Wales. And I have to think about these memories as kind of like the memories that I have of my childhood, because yes, I was young, but like they were such great memories. And I used to go on caravan holidays with my parents and my sisters and my brother and their friends. And I've always been a caravan holidayer at some point in my life. And we used to go to the beach, and I remember getting sand in, like sanding your sandwiches when you were like 6 years old, and it was so annoying. We've always holidayed in caravans and never gone abroad. And that was the same thing when I met my ex. He kind of had the same upbringing as me. And we were caravan holidayers. And it was just so nice that we were able to go to somewhere because his parents had a place there. And I do not think of those memories as being like painful memories. Those memories are some really fond memories of mine, and just little things like there was a shape on a hill and it looked like a man with a bat, and we'd always point it out on the way home, or like it would always be a race to see who could see one of the castles first and who could see the sea. And we'd get there really late on a Friday night, and just like the smell of the beach and hearing the waves. And there was a beach down the road that we used to call our beach, and just things like that. And they're not memories that I hate thinking about, because it was something that was part of our childhood. And I have since returned to the places that we used to go to. And I mean, Snowdon's one of them. It's around this like Snowdonia Park area. And I said on my Patreon the other day that like, it wasn't hard and it wasn't painful, and I wasn't there saying like, oh, this is what we used to do and stuff. It was like, I know this area and it holds really nice memories for me. And so that is like one hand, like how I have thought about memories and going to certain places and stuff, because I know that my ex now takes his girlfriend to the same places as we used to go to. But it was part of his childhood. And I think when I think now about how I view our breakup and the relationship that he's in and my life and his life, like, and this might sound and be hard to hear, but it isn't hard to say. Of course you want to get to know your new partner, and that place was a big part of his childhood. And I don't feel like, oh my God, he's taking her there, because he introduced me to it. And it's almost like I'm grateful that I got to experience everything that I got to experience because of his upbringing and because of what he had, and because he knew that place, and because we had of that. And it's a big part of his life. It was a big part of my life, but it was his childhood. So like, on one side, I've got those memories where I think, yeah, we celebrated every single anniversary there, and I'd be able to probably drive there with my eyes shut, hands tied behind my back, be able to tell you all the places. But it's not somewhere where like I think, oh my God, like they're going to do stuff that we used to do, because of course, because that was his childhood. And I remember my therapist saying to me, yes, they were your memories, but also it's deeper than that for him. And one of the things that used to irritate me when I used to say like, oh my God, I can't believe you're taking her to the same places as we used to go to. He would argue that he was just living his life. And it took me a long time to actually like break it down and realize that actually, yeah, like that he was just living his life, because that was a huge part of his childhood. And I know that when I have children, I'm going to be able to say like, I used to do this, but I know that like I said, I'll be able to go back to that place. And yes, it holds really fond memories, but it's not a place that I think, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. So if that does resonate with you and you're thinking, oh my God, like, you know, we used to go that place, but you actually realize that the only reason why you went to that place was because of him or because of her, then try and work on the fact that they are fond memories, but then the memories go deeper for them. And, you know, you don't know what conversations are going on behind closed doors. They might not have said, I used to come here with my ex, but the story can be, I used to come here when I was growing up. And I remember my therapist saying it to me and me being like so resistant to accept it. And then finally, when I accepted it, I thought, this makes it so much easier for me to manage, because it's not something where I can be upset about, because I had no control over where he went when he was growing up. And yet I was able to have some really nice memories of a place, and a place, like I keep saying, that I probably will go back to, like, and probably will visit, but it isn't somewhere where I'm rushing back to. But for example, just climbing Snowdon and being in the area, it does bring a lot of memories. But there was not one part of me where I thought, oh my God, like, oof, don't like this, because the routines that we did were the routines that he did when he was a kid, and the routines that his parents put in place. So like, we used to go to certain beaches and we used to go to the boatyard and they had a boat and we had jet skis. So like, those routines weren't built by us. They were routines that were built by his family that then we kind of took on. And when my therapist broke it down to me like that, I had like a light bulb moment where I was like, I'm really grateful for those memories and it's really nice. And I get like the reminders on my storage accounts and stuff, and it's like, you were doing this 9 years ago, or like, you were doing this 11 years ago. And they're photos of us around the area, and they're just nice. Like I said previously, like, if you know that a place of yours and memories of yours that have been attached to a place, but those places are because of your ex's childhood or your ex's family, then try and think about it from the flip side of the fact that yes, they are your memories, but they're also theirs as well. And what I didn't want to do was come here and sit here and be like, they will think of you, because that is hard to hear, because you think, well, how can they be there? When actually they might be thinking the same thing, that the memories have been so nice. And I will go further on and say that they might want to keep that place with them and keep going and visiting and making that their place to go, because they might want to bring their children up in a place where they were brought up. And so I just wanted to get that positive part out of the way. Not positive part, but like a part where people have said to me like, oh, have you seen that he's taken her there and you used to go there and it used to really hurt me, and now that doesn't hurt me. Like, those places, it just doesn't hurt me anymore, because I think, yeah, like, he probably should, because it was a massive part of his upbringing and a huge part of his life. However, on the flip side, there could be things that they do with the routines that they have that you built as a couple. Now, this stings big time, and it is really friggin' hard. And hearing or seeing somebody tell you, or, you know, you seeing it, and someone saying our favourite place, when it is a place that you and your ex found together, or doing something that you and your ex used to do together that you built as a couple, is different and really hard. And again, I had this firsthand. I talk about Nuki a lot. It was a place that we found as a couple. I say found, it was like we visited to begin with. We started going to Boardmasters Festival. And that quickly became our favourite place. And we would go every year, a couple of times a year. We would meet up with friends there. And that was a routine and a memory and a core memory of mine that I created with my ex. And these are the memories that when you have that thought process, if they're going to do everything they did with me, with them, that is when it feels like a hot dagger in your heart, because you think, how on earth are they doing that? So that hurts. And again, little story time. We had Nuki and we found Nuki, and Nuki was our favourite place, and we loved being down there, so much so that we were dying to buy a house down there, and we wanted a holiday home down there. And I remember finding the holiday home that he bought through his business. Oh, well, I didn't find it, but I remember going down and viewing it and being like, oh my God, everything that we've said about bringing our children up on the beach and it is all coming true, and it's all got like snowballing and going really fast. And I think what made it harder for me was the fact that I saw the house. So I was there with the viewings right up until he left. And then I never got to experience the house. I just saw it when it was done, and then knew that he had taken his new partner there. So that really hurt for me, because that was a place where we had built our own routine, and that was our favourite coffee shop, the Box and Barber. And we saw Box and Barber be like this tiny coffee shop, and then it moved into what used to be a surfing shop that used to sell surfboards. It moved there. It was huge. We saw those grow. There was a bakery on the corner. I can't for the life of me remember what it is. And this was before I was obviously gluten-free. We used to go to the bakery every morning. We used to camp on this campsite every year, and they knew us there. And I've since recommended that campsite to quite a few people because it's so cheap. So if you need a good campsite recommendation in Watergate Bay, hit me up, because I know one. And this scenario really hurt me, because I knew and was told that they were doing things that we'd done, and it was our routine. And it was hard to hear that they were doing things that we'd built, and it was my life. And I was sat in so much discomfort, and yet like he was just repeating old patterns and kind of like just trying to not sit in the discomfort. It was kind of like, well, this is what I used to do, so I'm going to carry on doing it. And that was kind of the mentality that I was stuck with, because I couldn't take somebody there and do what I did with him, because it would just feel weird. And I couldn't understand how he was doing it. And I kept saying to him, I don't understand how you were taking somebody new to like our place. And again, I was just hit with like, I'm just living my life. This is what I used to do. And for ages and ages and ages, I would go around in my head thinking, but how? I don't understand, because I could never do that. And then there was like this turning point in one of my therapy sessions where I think I'd come in like a real big mess, and I was like having the worst time. And I literally was sat, and I remember making the appointment face to face and being like, I am so overwhelmed. I know that they're there. And I think I was sat at the top of my old stairs in my old house. And I think I'd seen on someone's Instagram that they were together at that place, like a mutual friend. And my head just exploded. And I remember being like to my therapist, I need to see you, and I need help. And I sat in the room and I was like, I don't understand. And that is like one of the main questions that you ask yourself, like, how are you doing that? And you have to really, really, really split away from you and him and together. You have to remember that it's you, then him. Like, or her and then you. Like, you have to remember that the minute that you break up, this is so hard to hear, but there is literally like someone has like severed you down the middle, and you are your own person. And the reason why you can't understand why someone is doing something is because you are not them. So the fact that they have recycled your life and that you can't understand how they've done that is because you wouldn't want to do that, and you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. And this was the turning point for me. This is when I remember thinking, oh yeah, if somebody can just plug a new person into their life and keep moving, like nothing has happened, to me, that might be love to them, but it's not the definition of love to me. I wouldn't be able to do that myself, and I wouldn't be able to do that with somebody else. And I've had to, and I guess this is the advice that I want to give to you, that I have had to spend so much time separating the love that I had in my old relationship to the love that I wanted now, and what love means to me. And yes, I felt loved in my old relationship, but there were things that now have come to light where I've thought, I don't want that in a new relationship. That isn't what love means to me. And I have been able to spend so much time by myself because I have continually told myself that I want to make sure that I'm going into a new relationship on the right foot. I'm not just replacing or like regurgitating or repeating old memories. I've decided that I wanted something new, which is so weird when I look back and I realize that I wasn't the one that wanted this breakup. I was terrified of being on my own, and yet I then watched myself sit with discomfort and go through everything that I went through, and I've watched myself sit alone continually for a couple of years. And then I had to watch the person that didn't want a relationship get into a new relationship, and it is hard, but I am so proud of myself that I was able to sit in discomfort and not distract. And I think there's a lot of things that are flying around, like the sentence, as long as you're happy. And I think, yes, that is so true. And people say it to me, like when I say I'm still single and I want to be single, and people are like, as long as you're happy. But I've heard it more and more, like people will message me and say like, I don't understand how they've got into a new relationship and people around me are saying like, oh, if you're not happy, as long as they're happy. And I think that's really unfair because their happiness has come at an expense of like ruining somebody's mental health. And so I don't necessarily agree with that statement of like, oh, well, they had to leave as long as they're happy. Yes, I believe that everybody should be happy, but I also do think that people's feelings should be taken into consideration. That is the one thing that I write continually in my messages and continually in my DMs when people say, I don't understand how, you know, with like mutual friends and stuff, how they've been able to say as long as they're happy, meaning as long as your ex is happy. It doesn't actually give them the right to destroy you completely as a person. Yes, their happiness needs to be taken into consideration, but also when there is a human being stood there and you are destroying somebody, then I do think that there is an exception to say that maybe their happiness should have waited a little bit. But you deserve a love that is intentional. You deserve a love that's unique, that you've never experienced before. And that's always excites me because I always think, oh my God, I'm going to experience something that I've never experienced before, because I know that the list of things that I want outweighs the list of the things that I had, because I've spent so much time thinking about the type of love that I want to be shown and the type of relationship that I want to be in now. And I always say this, it wasn't because I wasn't happy in my past relationship. It's because I've been given the time. And this is where I always say, like, I wasn't replaced, I was released. I was released out of a relationship that served me so well growing up and gave me everything that I wanted, and I learned so much. But I've been released out of that relationship now to understand what I want in an adult relationship. I've been able to reflect so much. I still reflect now in therapy sessions with people. I reflect continually on my old relationship, and I realize that the list of things, like I said, that I want in a new relationship is so much bigger than the list of things that I had. And yes, they will overlap. It wasn't so long ago that I was saying the personality traits. I'm attracted to certain personality traits, and those certain personality traits were in my ex, and I will probably be attracted to them in somebody else. Things do overlap. Not everything has to be a negative about your breakup, but currently, if you are in the pits of your breakup and you are going through the worst time, everything is going to feel negative. And I think another thing that is like been a massive mindset shift for me is the fact that there is absolutely no limit on future memories, connection, love, joy. There's no limit on that. Just because you didn't have it in a previous relationship doesn't mean that you're not going to have it in future relationships. Just because those memories hurt, and the fact that, you know, that you felt like you were replaced very quickly, or you felt like you couldn't go back to a place that you used to go with your ex, that you will experience so much more. You get to experience so much more. You're going to experience so much more. And the experiences are going to be so different. And you will feel so emotionally safe. And I can't stress that enough. You will feel so emotionally safe. There is not one part of me that wouldn't want to sit in a relationship and be emotionally safe. Like, being emotionally safe is huge. And trust me when I say this, when somebody makes you feel emotionally safe, all of a sudden you think, oh my God, that is already like one more thing, one more positive thing that I have done since going through a breakup. I've made sure that I'm in emotionally safe environments. If I can't be emotional around somebody, if somebody suppresses my emotions, or, you know, won't talk about their feelings, or doesn't see the importance of speaking about their feelings in front of me, I am out, because I cannot be in a situation again where my nervous system is on tenterhooks 24/7. And it probably would have been throughout my relationship without me actually realizing. I didn't realize how much my nervous system was in fight or flight towards the end of my relationship. And now when I go into fight or flight, or if like my nervous system spikes, if I'm in a situation where I want to get out of, I'm like, how on earth did I not see the warning signs? But again, like I said, now I've been released and let go out of this relationship that in my eyes was perfect. When I got left, my relationship in my eyes was perfect. There was nothing wrong, that we had everything. And now when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, there was so many things that now I would think, if that was my friend and my friend was saying, oh, you know, this happened, I'd be like, what? I'd be so shocked. And I think, like, because I didn't speak to my friends about a lot of things, because I was too proud to say, oh, he did that, or like, we're just going through this sort of time at the moment. My friends weren't really there to be able to say, Lou, what the hell? You know, I didn't have that reaction. But like now, if I went through some of the things that went on, like I do in my therapy sessions, and my therapist turns around to me and says, Lou, you know, that's not normal, don't you? And I'm like, well, yeah, it is normal, because that's just what we did. And she was like, but you're making excuses for your ex and your relationship. And I'm trying to tell you that that's not normal, and you're coming back with, yes, it is. And it's so weird. Honestly, therapy is so weird, because it opens your eyes and you come out feeling like, you know, this sense of gratitude. That's why I wanted to start this episode on such a positive, with dissecting a situation and being able to feel grateful for an outcome, but then know that there are going to be outcomes where sometimes you do feel like you were scolded, and feel like, actually, hold on a second, how have they been able to do that? Like, I will never be able to step foot in Nuki ever again, and that is a hill that I'm probably willing to die on. It holds too many memories for me. There is too many memories in that place where I think, I genuinely don't think I would be able to go back there, which is sad, because it is a place that means a lot to me. I am evolving, and I have evolved into somebody that I am so proud of, but also somebody who doesn't want to live that life anymore. So yes, I do want to go on, you know, trips away with a new partner, and I do want to experience new things, but I think there's part of me that thinks, oh my God, they're going to do everything that they did with me, with them. But be grateful that you created those types of moments. You created that life. You created all of that. And the hardest thing to do, but the most rewarding thing to do, and the most peaceful place to sit, is that you did that. You created those memories. You created those routines. You found those places. You found those coffee shops. And I know for a fact that you will find them again in a new relationship, in a relationship that you have had time to really think about. You've taken time to sit on your own, to have the time being single, to have the years of being single, to realize what you want in a relationship, to really reflect on your past relationships, to meet new people and think, you're for me, you're not for me. You are going to create that again. Just because somebody left your life does not mean that your life ends and it ends there. And yes, like I said, there are going to be memories where you think, how on earth have they done that? But flip it, flip the mindset, make sure you've got the shift in the mindset to think, that is the type of love that I didn't want. I don't want to be with somebody who can replicate and repeat the same things that they did with their ex. It's not something that will reward you. It's not something that you can step away and think, oh my God, this is so new. It's not that. And I think this can go hand in hand when people are like longing for their ex back. I have to say to so many people, like, what is it about the relationship that you want back? What part of it is that you want back? Because you can have all the good stuff, because you are the good stuff. You're the good stuff in the relationship. I always say that my love was so much stronger than my ex's love. I was the love and the laughter in my relationship. I was the funny one, and I was the loving one, and I was the one that brought all the love to the relationship. And I know that I'm going to carry that into a new relationship, and the love is going to feel 10 times louder, because I know that I will choose somebody and they will choose me, and we will connect on a level that is going to be much stronger than the level that I had with my ex. And I avoid saying my new relationship's going to be better than my old one, because like I always go back and say that my relationship was good for the time of my life that I was in that relationship. But things move on and you grow as a person. And I just think one of the best things that a mutual friend said to me was, you've grown up so much and you will outgrow each other. And I feel like the growth that you go through whilst being single, which is why I'm such an advocate for sitting in the discomfort and on your own, because the growth, yes, I've grown as a person that I can be by myself. Yes, I live in my own house. Yes, I've done my own thing. Yes, I've gone out and made my own money now. And yes, I've been independent. But like, the actual internal growing up that you do when you come out of a relationship. And I think this is more to be said as well when you've been in a relationship since you were a teenager, and those long relationships, I think the growth that you do is astronomical. And I always find a lot of comfort in the fact that when I first was going through my breakup, I couldn't imagine life without my ex. And I wanted to be with somebody who was so charismatic, like, and all his good qualities. I found myself longing for him every day, because it was like, I'm never going to find somebody like that. I'm never going to find somebody like that. And let me tell you that you find people like that, and they find you, and they have other things where you think, that's interesting. And there are things that, for me, when I meet somebody that matches my sense of humor, or like can be on my level of banter, I think that's new. And all these things should be exciting. And yes, they are scary, because like meeting new people is friggin' scary. But I hope that by listening to these episodes, you know that, one, you trust me, because you know that I'm not just talking out of not having experience. I've experienced everything I think you go through as a breakup, bar divorce and having children. I think I experienced it all. And I never thought I would be the girl that would be single. I thought I would be somebody's wife. I never thought I'd be a single woman actively choosing to be single, because the more I spend time by myself, the more I realize that I need a little bit more time healing in this part, and I need a little bit of time healing in this part. There are things that I still need to work on my own. People will come along and you'll meet people and they'll be okay with the fact that you're still trying to work through a little bit of trauma, or like a hell of a lot of trauma. But most importantly, I never thought I would be the person that would say, I am so excited to meet somebody new, because I know what I bring to a relationship. I know the characteristics and I know my personality. I know myself so well now that I know with confidence when somebody says, oh, like, this isn't working or you're not right for me. I know that that is a huge sign for me to be like, do you know what? This is nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with that other person, because I know what I bring to the table. And to be able to confidently sit in those feelings of, this has got nothing to do with me. If someone turns around and says, oh, you're not for me, that's because they haven't been able to see you fully and they do not appreciate everything about you. And I just wanted to finish on the fact that I know that it is painful to think that they're doing the same things with a new partner, but it might be the same place, it might be the same beach, it might be the same restaurant, it might be the same city. These things might all be the same, but they are not you. It is not the same laughter. It's not the same jokes. It's not the same sort of spark. It's not the same. That's not to say that it's not as good as, or it's you are less than, or they are better than. It's just not the same because it's not you. So you should not worry yourself about, are they thinking about me when they're in this place? The answer is probably yes. You've crossed their mind, because and if they haven't, then it makes that person and your ex a robot. Because I think if anyone goes to a place where they used to go with somebody else, it's going to remind them that, hey, you used to go here with your ex. But it isn't the same, and it's never going to be the same. And they're your memories that you have with them. And they've obviously decided that they want to try and create new memories, but in the same place. And honestly, hand on heart, do I think you can do that? No. But does their life have any impact on mine? No. Because those memories don't just disappear. They're going to be with you and your ex for the rest of your life. They're not just disappearing. You're just moving on to a new chapter. And an exciting one as well. And I can't stress to you enough, when you meet people and when you get to talking to new people, it opens your friggin' eyes and you're like, oh my God, this is mental. And I always say, and I say it a lot on my Patreon, if I met my ex now on a dating app and I went on a date with him, knowing what I know now out of a relationship, say, for example, it wasn't with him, knowing how I am and knowing what I'm looking for, I don't think that we would be compatible. Which is so random because we were compatible for so long. And I just don't think we would be now. We just, in fact, I will say it solidly, we aren't. And I know that I would be like, oh, not sure about this and I'm not sure about that. And so, yeah, I hope this episode's helped. I hope you've been able to draw some positive mindset shifts. And if you have related to anything that I've said, I'm sorry, it is so hard. It is one of the hardest things, watching your ex move on, but also do the same things that they did with you, with their new partner. It is so difficult, but you can pull some real positive things out from it. And those positive things have taken me a long time and a friggin' hell of a lot of therapy. And that's why I'm here sharing it with you. So if you want me to talk more on this, then please just let me know. Please head on over to my Patreon, which is £5 a month. You can follow the link in all of my bios. I am over there. I answer my messages. I do separate episodes on loads of other things. And it's just a nice place to sit. They've actually also allowed now like a community chat. So I'm going to enable that and see how that goes down. You can chat within that area, potentially with people that have maybe gone through divorces, people with children. I'm going to have a look over the weekend to see how that works. I think that would be a really nice feature, because there are things that I can't talk about. There are things that I don't talk about just because I don't like giving advice on it. But children is a main thing that comes up a lot. I wish I could advise people struggling with no contact with children. I know it is really difficult. On the topic of no contact, I have a 30 days no contact guide that is also available from my Stan store. It's $19.99 and it takes you through 30 days, mindset shifts, practical tips. I need to upload all the reviews that I have had on that, with people starting and being like 2-3 weeks in. So let me know if you want the links to anything. If you can't find anything, If you have decided that you want to join over on my Patreon, 2 extra episodes will go live this week, which means you get 3 whole episodes of me in a week. How glorious. If not, guys, I'll speak to you next week, next Friday. Have yourselves a brilliant weekend. Look after yourself. Bye.